Hello, friends. My name is Steven. We are here today to discuss Berserk Volume 14 and Deluxe Edition number 5. To double check. Number 5, yes. So we're here with everyone. Good to be back and see everybody again. It's been a little while, but so Dan, want to kick us off with an introduction?
For sure. I'm Dan. I'm a big manga fan. Read Berserk many times. And yeah, going to be interesting to see what you guys think of the next sections, which are going to be different. Dolores?
Hello, I am Dolores. This is actually my first series in manga that I've started, and I've been enjoying it so far.
Nice. And Joe?
Oh, I'm Joe Byrne. I'm author of Wistful Ascending and various other books, and I've read a lot of manga for a long time. And Love and Berserk is my second read, at least. Well, I mean, I'm a rereader. I don't know how many times. It's been a long time.
Varsha?
Hi, my name is Varsha. I have a YouTube channel called Reading by the Rainy Mountain. I have read other manga before, but this is my first time through Berserk.
Yeah, it's my first manga too. So it's been a fun ride. This does have a very different feel to it after the events of the of volume was it 12?
The Eclipse?
Yeah, the Eclipse. It does have a very different feel to it, and so I guess we can start off with with Casca and Guts, and I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't seem all that keen on sticking around to help her. I don't know if there's a whole lot he can do, but I was a little bit surprised that he didn't stick around too long. And she does have an offspring now, which I thought was interesting.
Was that her child with Guts?
I thought yeah.
I was a little confused. I thought it was because there was probably no way for it to be with Griffith, because since it's like happened like I don't know 4 or 5 days ago.
It's magic though, so I don't know if it has to follow the same rules as a normal human pregnancy.
The skeleton knight is looking at Guts and says, "It's your child."
Yeah, he does say like it will seek the both of you out. So I assumed it was their child.
But it's infected by the evil sperm.
Yeah. It was just like, great, okay. Now it's like a cursed child, right? I think they called it a cursed child. And I always thought it was ironic in the sense that when we first had the introduction to Guts' like backstory, he too was called the cursed child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have this theme of these cursed children.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's good. I forgot.
That's cool, yeah. Did Guts seem less reluctant to kill the infant soon as the skeleton dude told him it's his child, or did I just read that into the panels for no reason?
I think he still wanted to kill it. I think he didn't get to it in time. I think Casca was trying to stop him, and I think if she hadn't stopped him, I think he would have.
That's how I read it. Like I think he hesitated because you would, I guess. But I don't think he really changed his mind as much as then it turned into vapor because the sun came up. Which my kids would do that. But
still a demon.
Yeah, because there's a point where he says, this is a demon. It's one of those who devoured our comrades. And so I think if he could have, he would have killed the child because I mean it's not human.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's one of the themes in Berserk that you see a lot of the time, like bad parents, or specifically a lot of time bad fathers. I think, and we see like another one too in the story afterwards, right? So I don't know. it seems like there's not that many good parents around in this world. I think there's a lot of violence, a lot of emotional abuse, a lot of neglect, right? So maybe I wonder if, I don't know. I don't know what will happen with Guts and his child. Like, does he even see it as his child, really? Because I don't know if you guys remember, we did see it previously. Now that we've seen, right?
Did we see it previously?
Baby?
2 times.
Oh.
If you go back to the prologue, if you think back.
Like what? You want me to go back that far?
Yeah. If you remember, when he was seeing, like, he was dreaming, we weren't sure if he was dreaming of it or if he was seeing it in reality. And there was, like, this features sort of like creature. When he was, for example, in the dungeon, like, locked up, it was this child.
Okay, so we were talking, like, Deluxe Volume 1, one of those.
Yes,
so like the
the
third.
prologue,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I gotta go dig that one up and relook after.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting to see it. I personally, at this point, I would want to go back to start to reread it, because I think, knowing what we know now, I think you could see more of the development of the actual story itself. Like, oh my gosh, it was already there in front of us. We just weren't paying attention.
Didn't know. Well, you couldn't have known, right?
No. But, I mean, it's still, he was already thinking about it as he was developing the story. He had these little things in there, like these little Easter eggs, right? That you just, I guess if you were really looking, you would find them. But I think on a second reread, you would appreciate it on a different level, knowing, like, wow.
Especially those first 3 volumes.
Of the story.
Those first 3 volumes, right? They were your first was so disjointed from what came after. You look at it now and you're like, okay, I see how we got here now.
Uh-huh.
No, I totally agree. Now, I have a question before we go on. So in my volume 14, the last thing in it is this thing called the prototype. Is that in your edition also?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
The prototype?
Yeah.
Wait, which one was it?
Yeah, the original version of I guess the chapter 1 that he was pitching. This is typical for manga, right? Like manga will write like a chapter, and that's like a query letter, right, for an author, right? They'll try to get. You don't write like 10 volumes and try to sell it. You write like a chapter and you try to get hired by a magazine to publish it. They don't write that much in advance. So this is you'll see a lot of these around with like that first chapter that's written as like the pitch for the story, and then they get hired, and then one day they're like, oh, sometimes they publish the pitch and sometimes they don't. I'm sorry. We can talk about it because you read it. I wasn't sure if it was in your edition.
Yeah.
I don't mean we can talk about it now. Sometimes.
It actually, since we're talking about the prologue, I just thought the illustrations in it, you can tell, are very, I don't know, it's just elementary, I guess maybe is the best way to say it. That even the way that Guts is like drawn, I don't know, I appreciate his development now than when it first started. I don't know, he looks more of a jerk there, but
yeah, he's got sharper features, I think. Like his
he does.
face is slightly thinner, perhaps, or meaner looking. You're right.
Yeah,
right?
it's like it's thinner, and it's I don't know. There's just this kind of, I don't know, almost like cartoonish. I don't know how to really describe what the face, the structure of the face is. I don't know. I would look at it and be like, oh my god, that guy's a real dick. Where, like, now that we've been with him for all these volumes, you're just like, man, I really have compassion for him, because he's had a I'm just gonna say, he's had a pretty shitty life. Everybody that he's even like grown to love or care for is like now dead,
or worse.
And and now all he sees is demons. I mean, like, why would you want to live? Why would you want to continue to live if this is your existence now? That was,
Revenge.
in fact, is that what drives him? Because I think I would have wanted to have died in volume 13. Like, everybody's gone. Why do I want to keep going on?
What?
And now Casca, she won't even touch. I can't even touch her. She won't even touch me. Like, why? Why continue on?
I still think this comes back to the theme that runs through this for me is Miura kind of saying, I'm going to write a character who's going to struggle no matter what. And that's only meaningful if you throw everything at them, right? Because if you're like, oh, the guy's got he got a flat tire one day, but he soldiered on. You're like, okay, I've had flat tires, right? It's like, you got to go the other extreme. You got to throw everything but and the kitchen sink at the guy. And I'm like, if you want to throw everything and the kitchen sink at someone, you can't do a much better job than like the Eclipse. Right? You're throwing everything at this guy, and you're like, I'm going to have him soldier on. I love the details that the Skeleton Knight calls him the struggler, not the winner, not the revenge getter, not the justice finder. It's just the struggler. It's like, dude, you're not going to win, but you're going to keep trying. And I'm not promising you any more. I'm not foreseeing any victory here. Just you're going to keep struggling, and it's going to suck. But it's not going to stop you. And it's like a weird. It's like you're not the chosen one. You're not chosen to win the war. You're just chosen to keep fighting it, right? Which is like different and kind of horrifying, but deliberately so. I don't know. The struggler. I love that. That one word in this volume struck me. I think you said it before, but it struck me this time more.
Well, if you look at that specific panel, it's by it. It's like there are 3 words in that thing. It says good journey, and then he ends with struggler. I mean, it's by itself. But, I mean, again, would you want to struggle? I mean, would you want to constantly be carrying these burdens and suffering? I don't know if I could do it. I was just reading it like, why? What I mean, seriously, like, what makes him keep going on? I mean, like,
just the need to not give up, I guess.
But just, if it's so hopeless, I mean, it feels like a sense of hopelessness. Like, why do you want to continue on if it's going to be this hopeless? I mean, like, I don't know, I guess it's the philosophical question that people ask themselves is, the world is full of evil and suffering, but we still continue on. But Guts has got it 10 times worse.
But it's also
and now he sees demons all the time that are trying to eat him. I mean, like, seriously, why would you want to continue on?
I mean, to be honest, though, like, if he gives up, he goes to hell. So it's not. I don't think it's getting better. So.
Oh, and that was my other question too. So, like, when all of his comrades were killed and gobbled by these demons, does that mean they're in this purgatory, or they're just kind of like their death isn't really death? I mean, it's like a new type of reborn into something, right? Is that what happens to them?
I think they go into a maelstrom, because we've seen before that victims of a sacrifice take down the person, taking them into a maelstrom too. So I assume they're coming from there. I mean, what goes on in there, I don't know exactly, but I think we've seen it described in a not very positive way. So,
I just, oh my gosh! So maybe you don't want to be. It's like, I think you're damned if you do, you're damned if you're not. Oh my god! Oh.
But he's not.
But
he's not driven by fear of the maelstrom, right? He's not driven by fear of death.
No.
And he's not driven you see these stories about people who are suffering, but they keep working, they keep striving. But usually those stories, it's they find moments of joy in the world, right? The monk who's trapped on a cliff and there's a tiger and he sees a flower and he plucks the flower. It's that in that indescribable peril, they still find these moments of beauty and joy. Guts isn't doing that either. He's not this is all horrible, but check out that gorgeous waterfall. He's not that guy, either. He's driven by just rage and the desire for revenge, which I find also fascinating. There's no positive stuff in this guy's life.
No.
It's not oh yeah, life is the demons are after me, but this chili, man, try this chili. This is delicious. You could see a character like that. You could see writing a story with a character with that attitude, and this is just not it. I would.
I think with as much as Guts has struggled through, I feel like if he did that, if he appreciated flowers and waterfalls, it would strike a bit shallow. uh, I think he's just someone who's sort of, I just that word struggler feels like the only description for him. Just someone who fights through no matter what happens. And I don't know that it doesn't feel like he has any motivation other than that. Just we've seen him in several battles where he just won't give up, and that's his motivation. I don't want to be someone who gives up on whatever he's struggling
He
through.
does relish the fight too, though. There's a level of that.
Mhm.
He's not just I'm willing to fight. I hate because I've seen it's a lot of manga action heroes who will fight and they'll struggle, but they don't like it. Fist of the North Star, he doesn't enjoy blowing people up. He just does it all the time because he has no choice. Guts smiles when he's about to kill a bunch of things, right? Those grins,
Yeah.
right? He's relishing it too. So that's a little bit of darkness in there on that level as well. That's not always in action heroes.
And I think it shows up. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I just wanted to say, I think it also shows when he chooses to sort of go on revenge instead of staying with Casca, right? Because he's right. I don't know. Like it feels like that's another sort of thing that it's like, oh, I'm gonna go and do what I like and good at, whatever, more than what is sort of needed. The more compassionate route. I don't know. It feels like it's sort of avoiding a bit too. And I think we've seen that before too, a little bit. He just goes to fight instead of staying probably where he should have been and maybe facing a more complicated emotional discourse with himself and with other people. Instead, he just goes on his own and it's like, this is simple. I know how to do it. Right? Yeah.
That's what caused all this in the first place.
True. True.
Yeah, he seemed almost thrilled when that first demon came in near the waterfall, right? So when we meet him in the first volume, he looks almost defeated, right? Like he's still struggling through, but he's been through a lot and he's keeping going, but he's not really pleased about fighting the demons anymore, or at least I didn't read that into it. But at the beginning of his journey, he was thrilled that he had something to face, maybe something to take his anger out on, perhaps. I don't know. Yeah, that felt different, like he at the beginning of his journey versus towards not the end, but the middle where we met him.
I guess keeping up that level of intensity and hatred is where I guess it kind of wears you out a little bit.
But I mean, it is sort of what he was looking for, right? Because he was like, oh, I just want to go around to fight stronger and stronger people. It's sort of what he's doing now, I guess.
He's on another level at this point.
Yes, that face. Exactly.
That face, right? That is not a well-adjusted human being.
Yeah, like compare that face with the face he has when he has to confront Casca and he's like, I can't get through to her. I don't know, like, violence is not the answer here, so I don't know what I can do, right? And then he's,
But that goes with...
Well, I mean, he's
different.
broken too, right? Yeah. Casca's broken. He's broken. And if you think about it, I mean, the only thing Guts knows he does well is fight, right? He's a warrior at heart. And so why would he stick around to take care of Casca? Because that's not who he is. I mean, at the end of the day, he goes out with his big sword and he's slashing and killing stuff. So, I mean, he could sit there and take care of her, but I think he would just die there. Maybe it's better for him to go out into the world and serve his purpose, right? Sort of like the Bhagavad Gita, where Arjun and Krishna have this conversation. Like, it is better for you to do your duty than to deny what it is that you truly are supposed to do. So for Guts, he's a warrior. He needs to go out there. He needs to fight. Otherwise, he's just not doing his duty. He's doing no service to anyone by sitting there. in, living in his misery and being a victim. So I guess in some ways it's better he goes out and fights.
It's also
Yeah.
doubly difficult for him, right? Like, not only is the skill set Casca needs not really in his wheelhouse, right? It's like
Yes.
and that's not his thing. It never was. But in addition to that, it's this woman that he loves, doesn't even recognize him, doesn't want him to touch her. Like, that's like an extra level of shit. It almost reminds me of people whose spouses have Alzheimer's. And you get to the point where they don't recognize you, and they get. A lot of people with dementia get angry, right? And it's like they'll lash out, and so you have this person who you loved not recognizing you and lashing out. And you're supposed to take care of them. It's like really hard. So we can forgive him, I think, for this, and.
Well, he does. Before he leaves, he tells the two kids, like, take care of her. It's your. Is it Rickard? Like, she's still our captain. I guess our, like, one of our commanders or captain. Like, take care of her. I just have to go out and scout the land now, but you can take care of her. So I don't think he leaves her high and dry, because he does implore them to take care of her. So
he probably sends back money by wire.
In Western Union, via Western Union. I did have a question though. So Casca's got the brand, and she's in the cave, and you see it bleeding. So I mean, what's to say that demons don't go into the cave, or is the cave like protection?
I think it says it was protected by like elfin magic or whatever fairy magic.
So as long as she
the people
stays,
who used to live there. Yeah.
The skeleton.
So as long as she stays in the cave, she's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just sorry. Before we go ahead, I just wanted to add like one little thing to what you were saying, Dolores, before, just to. I was just thinking that it reminded me a bit of, how do I say, a lot of movies or whatever, when there's a child or someone talking to the father, and he was like, and the father was like, oh, I spent so much time working for you, so I could have the money to give you, shelter and stuff like that. And then the child was like, oh, I just wanted to sort of have you there. So sometimes, like, people, like, and men especially, like, assume that they're, I'm just going to work and I'm going to get money and that's my job, instead of, thinking about being there for their family. Right? And it felt a bit like that, He's like, oh, I'm just going to fight because that's what's needed, but maybe it is not what needed. But sometimes, maybe it is what he's good at. So
I know. So that's the trade-off, right? It's either I stay or I go, and maybe right now the best option is to go.
Yeah.
And get revenge. Maybe that's just the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Go out and
we'll
find
see how
Griffith.
that pans out.
Yeah, we'll go find Griffith and take him down now that you know. He's a dick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, you gotta hate somebody, right? And I know hate's kind of a strong word, but he's like a next level, like, oh my gosh, you just wanna, like, give it to him. Like, what was his name in the Game of Thrones? Ramsay? Oh, you just wanted Ramsay to just get his comeuppance, right? So
at least so far, it's not saying he wants Griffith. He wants to kill the demons, the little guys. And he wants revenge on the people who ate his friends. He's not saying, I want to go kill Griffith. He still hasn't, I don't know that he'll reach that point, but he's not there yet. Maybe he's on his way, but he's not willing to blame Griffith yet. No.
Yeah. Well, that's a good bit, because personally, if I saw somebody raping the woman that I cared, I don't know. For me personally, I think I would just hunt them until there was like nothing left.
But when he sees Griffith, he doesn't really try to kill him. He tries to get Griffith to acknowledge him. Remember in that first volume, in that prologue, we see him see Griffith after all this happened, after the eclipse, when in that opening story, and he doesn't go after him with the sword. He tries to like hey, remember me? He does this weird thing, and it seems strange, but he's not just, I'm going to chop this guy in half.
Does he not? I think, doesn't he use his cannon towards him? Right?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't get. Oh, in the first time.
In the first time.
No, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Okay, in Deluxe Volume 1 then.
Yes.
Where
Yes,
he
I'm
sees
sorry,
them
yes.
again. Okay.
Yes.
I
Think. Yeah.
don't know, I don't think he tried using his
I
cannon.
have to read it.
He just screams.
Maybe.
He just, he has this like sort of this rage, but he doesn't like lash out.
Mm-hmm. Can try and find it. Let's see if I was
Yeah,
wrong.
I don't know. Knowing
I don't know
what
if it's been a while.
I don't know. Going back, knowing what he's done, I would just because when I first read it, I'm like, okay, he's there. They got some history together, but like now you know what kind of history they have.
Yeah.
And
Not
it's
great.
just like, yeah, it's not great. I mean, this guy's out for he's out for his own himself. Like he don't care about nobody no more. So, yeah.
And it's not like, Casca's all fine now. She's traumatized and not able to talk to him or recognize him. So there have been consequences from Griffith's actions. So
Mm-hmm.
if he's not out to kill him, that seems a bit strange to me. Maybe, yeah, I don't know if it goes that deep, but perhaps he blames himself for how Griffith became because of him going away for a year.
Yeah, but for me, I think Griffith made those choices. Those are the choices he made. So based on the choices, there are consequences for those choices. He didn't have to go and sleep with the princess to land in the dungeon. He made that choice himself. And so I don't know. I think that's another theme throughout the series is like the sense of responsibility, right? I mean, our choices are our choices, even though there's this, oh well, everything's been predetermined and this is the hands of the casualties and the fates and whatever. But for me personally, I think people still need to be held accountable. So he put himself in the dungeon. He brought that upon himself. I mean, if he was going to be a better person, then he should have just like, you know what? He went, Guts left me. I'm going to go cry over here in the corner. But what did he do? He decided to go and pursue the princess. So like, dude, you made your bed. You made the bed. You lay in it. So I don't know. For me, I have no compassion for him. He got what he deserved.
Yeah. So I went back and checked, and he actually does try to swing his sword, but he gets repulsed away, and then after it, then he tries to use his cannon, but they sort of parallel world disappears.
They have magic. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Speaking of, that's where we left Guts and Puck at when we started this flashback to the Golden Age arc, but that's not where we find them again. So I'm a little confused if we are still in sort of flashback mode or if we've gotten back to a little after where we left them.
I think we're still before when we started, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
we're definitely still before when we started, but I don't know how much earlier. Is it just before?
Does he meet Puck for the first time in this story, in the elf story?
We see him hanging from the
When he's
ceiling
sitting under
and
the tree,
people throwing knives
the
at
tree
him.
of faces. When he's sitting under the tree, is Puck already his friend? Or does he befriend Puck right there?
I think that part is after, maybe, right? So the first part of his volume is before, and then it's after, maybe? I mean, no, it can't be.
The first part of the volume is right after the eclipse, right? The Skeleton Knight is still carrying him away from the eclipse, takes him to the cave, but then they do the 2-year jump. And after the 2-year jump, I read it and I wasn't clear on if he already had Puck as a friend when he says, "Oh, this guy," or if he just finds him near that tree. Because if he already has Puck as a friend, then it could be either way. It doesn't answer the question. But if he doesn't, if this is his first meeting with Puck, I'm not sure.
I think he did have Puck as a friend at that point because he referred to him by name at some point, and they didn't introduce each other during.
And Puck might be the one who throws a little rock or acorn at the human dudes to distract them. All right, it's not important. We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay, so it definitely has to be after, because in the first chapter he meets Puck, right? So this has to be after, I guess.
You would think so, right? Because when they first in the first volume when they meet, he's just like, "Get out of here! You're like annoying." But now when you read it, they seem to like know each other a little more.
Yeah. And I double checked. In the first volume, Puck does say, "Oh, hi, I'm Puck. Nice to meet you."
Okay.
So it has to be
This is
after, I
after that.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Okay,
guess
okay.
at this point he's already met Griffith once after the eclipse, I guess.
At least.
'Cause, yeah,
Yeah.
at least once.
But probably just once. I think the way he talks to Griffith in that prologue story, it feels like they haven't met a bunch of times since the eclipse. Like the first.
Yeah.
That's how it seems. All right,
Okay, that makes
that
sense.
does make sense.
Okay, so it's been a couple of years.
They say it's 2 years later, don't they?
Or
Somewhere in here.
Okay.
Yeah, it says
Yeah, it
2
was
years.
2 years, and then the Prince of Darkness or Angel of Darkness is come or whatever.
And Gut seems to have made his peace with having Puck around because he didn't once yell at him to go away.
Yeah.
And we are learning a little bit about the skeleton knight, or he just says, I am the foe of the Inhumans. So that could explain why he's helping Guts.
Meaning he's not an inhuman himself, but Zod is.
Zod,
I don't know, he seems kind of inhuman.
Mm.
Zod's an apostle, right? I thought we knew that.
Yeah.
And
I guess we don't know
apostles
if yeah.
and
Spell Knight
apostles
is
are
an apostle.
demons, right?
I think
Well, apostles
so.
are people who've been turned
I think
back.
they're higher level demons, right?
Yeah. They're humans who had a ballad and that changed them into their new form. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
they're not the little guys that's fly around, but they're, yeah. I don't know if they're technically considered demons or if they're considered like a thing that goes over them. I don't know if the God Hand is technically demons, but they're all in the same
They're like
volume of the
levels,
monster.
right?
We lost him.
Oh, Dan.
It's very sad.
He's battling demons right now. Dad, come
He's
back.
Yeah, we do, and we do find where he gets the cannon from. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And the sword does have a name. It's called Dragon Slayer. I like that. Sounds pretty close to Dragnipur.
I also find it interesting that the sword, the cannon are like, they're not mystical devices. They're portrayed as just mechanical. It's this skilled, very human dude building them. Gus is not using the weapons of the enemy against them. Right? It's like a sword and sorcery, like old style. You know, he's using like a good old fashioned sword and a magnetized artificial hand. You know, I don't know. So, I wouldn't say it's realistic.
Well, and but if you think of the materials that make the sword and that made the hand are of the earth, right? So there's still this like groundy effect versus they're not like some spiritual thing, right? Where he like pulls out a fireball or something and throws it out. I mean, it's like of the earth.
Yeah. But you can easily imagine someone writing this where instead of going to this smith, he goes to like a kingdom of like elves and they give him like a magic bow or something. And that's very much not what happens. Like that's not the choices that Miura made. It's like he's still going by like grit and like human, and even the sword is not like particularly lovely, right? They keep they just loves describing this. It's like just a slab of iron, it's not
of hard work.
Yeah. It's like sweat and it's like a very blue collar slayer.
It's the labor, right? It's like built on labor, and it's the labor that takes to kill the things. It's not, oh, I press a button and then everything's demolished. Like you have to like literally fight, and blood and sweat is gone into making the sword, which then he wields with his blood and sweat, right? I did have a question, and I thought, I don't know, maybe this is something that is being portrayed, but is it me with the theme that the demons or people that are of the demon realm have power that's been corrupted, and so that's why they're demon like? Or is it just like, okay, we need good and bad, and so bad people or bad things are all the demons? You can mull that one over. It just seems like the people that have been truly corrupted are on some sort of demon level.
Well, that's how the ballot's supposed to work, right? Like you get the ballot, but it's by like sacrificing your friends that you become an apostle. So presumably there's a story like that behind Zod and behind this, possibly the Skeleton Knight and all these other people that they made these sacrifices. So they're not good. They have to be bad people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Or you're weak or already have that predisposition towards giving in to. I guess it goes along the idea of, some people believe that humans are born evil, and that if you truly give into it, then you've given into the evil, right? But there's ways to sort of temper that evilness that we supposedly have, like our evil nature. So I guess in this case, they just never really tempered that evilness. They just kind of let it go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
No, there are some things. There was. I remember reading a panel where I felt like he was almost reciting some Catholic prayers, because it just sort of had that tone and then intonation. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe he has some some Christian influence that's kind of going through it, right? Because in Western philosophy, it is this like thought of, God. Is there a God? Does God exist? Do humans have is everything predisposed, or is everything already decided, and the fates are gonna like just sort of play out their hand? I mean, those are all common themes within the Western philosophy. So
Hmm.
I mean, Joe, I know you've studied some of it, and you probably see it when you read this book.
yeah, but yeah, he's definitely taking a lot from there. But he's also taking like the armor and the architecture from the definitely Europe, right? That's not Japanese Middle Age stuff. It's a
Mm-mm.
rip off
Not even
of.
like samurai.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all derivative of like European Middle Age stuff. So he clearly studied it at least a little bit. In the same way that I know a little bit about Zen Buddhism and you know samurai ethics, and I've read
Mm-hmm.
all the big books from that just as a hobbyist. So no, he's definitely taking a lot more from there than what's superficially from Eastern religions. That focus on free will and determinism, that's very like I don't know, 16th, 17th century, Christian philosophers. Um, but this notion of heaven and hell is not Christian, right? If you read that secret chapter, you guys, I think I wasn't here for that discussion, but the deleted chapter, right, from volume 13, right? If
Hmm.
you read that, that's not Christian theology. at all. This idea hell is like the it's like almost Jungian, right? That's like the unconscious melding will of mankind in general made manifest or something, right? Like it's very its own thing.
Hmm.
No. Non-Christian. Mhm. I'd agree.
Oh,
Do we lose Dan?
No,
Yeah, I think so.
you're back.
yeah.
You're back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with the sacrifice, definitely. I agree with you.
Yeah, Dad, I think you make an excellent point. Because, yeah, when they're being sacrificed, right, it wasn't like, are you with me or against me? There's not like they have a choice. They were just sort of all lumped together, and the demons, like, went out and devoured them. So, yeah, how do you, it's like, how do you sort of wrap your mind around that, right? Like, these are innocent people that just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And then, it's undemocratic, really, right? You have no voice. And so it's just like, off with your head. There you go. Off with your head, like the queen, right? The Queen of Hearts, just off with your head. I know, maybe it is. It's just very undemocratic. You don't get a say. You know, okay, you're going to get sacrificed. It's not your choice.
And most people
Speaking
are
of-
terrible. We notice that again in this volume, right? There's that there's that most like average people are just awful. Like he meets that girl and like of course her father's molesting her and he's a drunk and he's abusive and like of course like why like is that necessary for the story? No, like the plot would have been fine if he was just a lovely old man, right? Same thing could have happened in every other respect, but no, they have to make him like a creep. The princess's father
wife,
seemed
right?
okay. The king seemed okay, but in the end, he wasn't. You know, so it's more of that grim.
I know, it goes back.
Hmm?
It goes back to like, supposedly humans are evil. At the root of it, we're evil. I don't know about that, but I mean, it's kind of one of the philosophical themes, right?
Yeah.
The stereotypes, right? The mother is the nurturing kind, and the caregiver, right? Where the father is the discipline and all of the other structured stuff that comes along with those typical stereotypes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're only as good as what you know, right? So I only know trauma, so I'm just gonna everybody gets trauma.
And speaking of undemocratic, I thought it was interesting that we were introduced to the Holy See. Where the hell have they been the whole time? It seems odd that we haven't really heard from them at all with all the things that have been going on. It's like I know he's probably just adding to the world and adding another dimension to it, but it seemed a little weird that we are just now being introduced to this central government.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like the way the Vatican's was, where there were maybe soldiers sworn to the Vatican, but if you were like in Germany, you didn't like pay taxes to the Vatican directly, right? But there'd be like an army moving around, like the Pope would say, "Hey, let's go on a crusade," and people would come and go on a crusade, But it wasn't like the Pope actually like ruled all of Europe. So that's my impression of the Holy See. I think it's the same sort of deal. There's probably a place somewhere where they have like a big fortress and they send like soldiers out to do things, but they don't control all these countries. They weren't in, sure. I mean, we see more of them in later volumes. I don't remember like any. We do see lots more about them, but I don't remember. Like I read this a while ago. But yeah, I mean, I could see why we wouldn't have seen them doing much with Midland. They probably did what the Pope did when a lot of countries went to war. It's like, I'm staying out of this. You guys figure this out. But when you have a lake of blood, maybe, they start changing their tune. Maybe they should be
Yeah.
involved.
I don't know. The darkness is coming, right?
But it's Mira, right? So the Pope's going to be another apostle or something, and they're all going to really be out to make things worse somehow. I mean,
corruption. They've all been corrupted on some level.
Probably,
I mean, did he really truly see the world as just this? I guess it would have been interesting to have a conversation with him, because I mean, he obviously saw some sort of perspective on life, right? In order to write a story like this. Was it always dark? He did struggle with depression, though, right? Yeah, that's true.
It's true. Trick question. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Dan, good point.
I used to know.
The introduction page, the author description page in the end mentions a couple of others, but I forget the name. I think if I remember correctly, though, they weren't very successful from what I understand.
I feel like I've seen something else of this.
Is there even a biography on him? Because it'd be interesting to read about his life. Because then you can kind of maybe piece together his perspective and then see how it's impacted his writing or his, storytelling, I should say.
Apparently, he wrote a manga called Miu Ranger at the age of 10, and it spanned 40 volumes.
Wow.
Oh, King of
He was
Wolves.
like Mozart, but in comic books.
Yeah.
He was composing on paper.
Yeah, he's got some dark influences too in terms of the manga world. Like Fist of the North Star is basically just like a post-apocalyptic, everyone's terrible, but they use kung fu that makes people explode storyline. It's not. It's actually a really good description of Fist of the North. If you ever have a chance to read it, don't. It's not good, but it's fun.
So I was curious. What was I saying? Yeah. Now that we finished the Golden Age and we're back in the present, what was it that makes it so popular amongst the readership? I think that's usually the most famous or well-known or most loved arc. I was curious. It didn't stand out to me as a brilliant story. Like, I enjoyed reading it, but I can't point to pieces and say, oh, this was absolutely fantastic. So I was curious what everybody else's favorite parts were or what you thought makes it so good.
It's a good
He was
question.
like,
It was like, yeah. So that's a good question because there's really nothing that I could think of immediately to point to.
It's got a couple things, right? The artwork is very good, unusually so, right? You can't just say, "Oh, I've read a dozen manga with art just as good." Like that's, you can have taste, but it might not be to your taste, but it's objectively really well done. And then the structure has a level of like ambiguity and complexity that it's not. You can't just describe and say what kind of person was Griffith, and you can't come up with a really quick answer, right? It feels deep. The characters, their motivation, what they do, why they do it. Like how much time have we spent discussing just Guts listening to Griffith's talk with the princess from the bottom of a staircase? There aren't that many. Like it's like 4 panels. Maybe it's not even 4 panels, right? But people talk about that for so long. About did he mean it? What were the implications if he did? What are the implications if he didn't? What was Guts to him before and after that conversation? There's so much. There's a level of complexity to that relationship, and only that relationship. I don't think there's a ton of complexity to Casca and Guts, or any of the other. I think it's Guts and Griffith. They have a complex relationship, and then Griffith's relationship to his own desires. That is, and because it's ambiguous, because you can't just read it and go, "Oh, I get it. I know what they're trying to do here." Like if you read like a lot of books, then you're like, "Okay, I get what they're trying to do here," and then it's in and out of your mind. But this like it tugs at you a little bit more. It sticks in your craw because it's not that easy to sum up. I still read it after I've read it several times before. I'm like, I forgot this nuance to the way they told the story. It's not even clear what the demons want. Like they want to give Griffith all his power so he can do whatever he wants. Like, hey, but it'd be so much easier if the demons like, we want to unleash hell on Earth and damn all mortals and make them all suffer. Like, okay. But they're not really saying that. The God Hand, they're like, yeah, buddy, we're gonna make you one of us, and then you pick. Dealer's choice, right? It's like weird. It's like he's I don't want to say he's going against tropes, but he's not doing the expected stuff.
Yeah, it's not black and white. It's like shades of gray. You can't put it in one camp or the other camp. It's sort of like, well, you could go either way. Again, like to Joe's point of having it being very ambiguous.
Yeah.
But even at the end of volume 13, right when everything goes down and Guts and Casca ride off with the knight, the skull knight. The God Hand has a conversation. They're like, "Wow, that was kind of interesting. We weren't really expecting that." So even they don't even know how things are supposed to play out because they're like, "Well, what just happened?" They were even in shock, right? So, I mean, it just you just never know. You could sit there and talk about, well, what did they know? What did they not know? Obviously, they didn't seem to know everything. So, I guess that's what makes a great book, right? Is when you walk away, and 2 years later, you're still thinking about that one panel, like, oh, it makes sense now, or like, I get it. I mean, that's just like a good movie too, right? Where you walk away and you still can't get enough of it. You just want to keep talking about it because it's left such a heavy impact on you. So maybe that's what the golden arc is for most people. Like, wow, what just happened?
It also fits because it's hard to see how it's going to end. And that's one reason I'm especially annoyed that Miura died as opposed to any other artist or creator. Because I don't see how it's going to end. It's very hard to imagine Guts swinging the sword hard enough to chop his way through the God Hand. Like they're just on a different metaphysical level. It'd be like killing the actual God with a gun, right? Like where are you going to shoot? Like where are you going to point? It's not like, oh, God's really tough. It's like no. There's just Where do I put the right? Like it's like a different scale. It's not a different scale. It's a different thing, different kind of thing. So it's really hard to imagine how it's going to end. I mean, is Gus just going to keep struggling and then eventually he'll die? Like,
Maybe he will die, but it'll be like,
struggling. Really
yeah,
struggle.
even in death he struggled.
You know, that'd be, but I don't, you know, it's hard to see, you know, or what's Griffith going to do? It's his personality at this point is uh, so opaque. What the Hawk guy wants, and it gets worse. It gets more strange, not clearer. Later,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and I, yeah, yeah, you could
Mm.
stop at volume 13, and you'd be like, all right, I get it. I get what happens. But also, I think when people like the Golden Age arc, they like the first half, not the Eclipse. And the first half is like, Guts, and he's a kid, and he grows up, and he gets really tough, and he kills 100 men in the forest to save Casca, and that's a good fantasy story, you know. The Eclipse, if
Mm.
it was just the Eclipse, I mean, I'm thinking about the Eclipse because it was so long. But if it was just that, I don't know if people would be like, appreciate it as much.
Hmm.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe Guts will fall into a volcano, just like Gollum.
We're only a third of the way
That's
through.
in Gollum.
We're only a third of the way through.
That's the only way, right?
Yeah.
He finds his freedom. Just throw him in the volcano. He'll take the sacrifice.
So if you fall into a volcano, you don't end up in a maelstrom.
No, you're in a volcano. You melted with your sword.
Good luck
You and your
finding
sword
me
become
here.
one.
Screw you guys.
Oh.
I'm taking my soul. I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm going to go throw myself in the volcano.
What did you guys think of the prototype?
Oh, did they? I meant to ask. There was some god he named called Wuana or something, whom we haven't seen here. So did that just go away to be replaced by what was that? The Holy See, the Royal See, the Holy See.
Oh no, I think Voana is replaced by the God Hand, or the
Hmm.
Demon
I
Realm,
see.
right? I think this is an early version, right? So what's interesting to me is we see Puck in this version, which I didn't expect. For some reason I didn't expect it, but he had Puck right away. So
Puck was
yeah,
always
Puck was
there.
always there, and I forget about Puck because he's not in the Golden Age arc. So like I don't think of him as being central, but he is clearly. And then
Yeah.
his mother was killed by
Mm.
this demon as a sacrifice, right? Which is not what happens
Hmm.
in Berserk, right? But it happens in the prototype.
Yeah.
And his personality is similar. He's got the big sword. He's got the missing eye. We see him lose an eye patch. And we know why he doesn't have an eye
Yeah.
patch because he gave it away. I'm excited about that. I was always wondering why couldn't this guy afford an eye patch? He's got a pen in hand, but he can't put an eye patch on. I don't know.
And Guts is more forthcoming with information. Like he's just yelling the fact that his mom was killed by a demon. He wouldn't do that in this book. We'll just find out through Puck having a stroke because of how much pain Guts is in. And
Yeah, he's less of a talker in the book than this one, right?
Hmm.
A
yeah,
little info dump.
and
Yeah.
and we see the. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh.
Sorry, Dan. Go ahead. Mhm. Yeah.
for a different artist, like One Punch Man. One Punch Man, this guy drew it. It was like a web comic, and it was like my love. It wasn't a professional artist. So then when it got so popular that they had a real mangaka, so now the art is like super polished and good. And you read the original, it's like squiggly lines and almost stick figure level, and it's like just really same story or very similar. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we see Guts make the silly face a few times too. So he's just much more darker and more brooding in the real version, I guess.
It's an early version, but it means that like he had this idea for this character, and then he built up the whole. He built up Griffith after the fact. He had Guts and Guts' personality and Puck in place, and then the relationship with Griffith and that whole backstory and the God Hand came after. Because originally it was just an evil god who killed his mom, right? Which is a very like, okay, sword and sorcery, I get it. Like I've seen this before. Yeah, he's got a cannon hand. That's cool, but like it's not that different. But this whole other layer of this complex relationship he has with Griffith, that didn't come first. So I find that really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's this thing about everyone losing eyeballs? Even this guy in this one lost his eyeball.
It's body horror, I think.
Yeah. And I did like that we're starting to get to know the elves, or what they thought were elves, until they're not.
They're like, are they
Demon
bugs?
Are they demon elves?
The bugs?
And
Are they the ones that are killing things?
yeah, he's.
I like that he's still waving his big ass sword at a swarm of essentially bugs.
Yeah.
He needs it. He needs it just in the flat, right? How else would you kill them? You're not going to stab them one by one, but if you just swing this big, it's a fly swatter, that sword. It's perfect.
He had a kid attached to the end of his sword. That felt incredibly dangerous.
He was using the kid to lure them into a barn.
Yeah,
so
he was bait.
You're going to work for
The
your
kid was
living.
bait.
Swings him on the... It's like,
But how is the end not sharp enough to rip the kid's clothes
it's a
out?
big, blunt hunk of iron. That's...
The kid had some tough clothes.
Kids' clothes are stronger than the demon's skins.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one more him being the anti-hero, right? Like, he's not going to say, he's going to take the child, save him, and then go, hey, you want revenge? Here, I'll use you as part of my plan as bait. It's like the thing Superman would never do, right? It's like the thing your classic hero would never endanger a child, like deliberately. Yeah. So it's like it's more.
And he even says it too. He says, "Hey, you make good lore."
Yeah, he's doing it on purpose. He's dragging the kid, pull them into the barn so he can burn them. It's not an accident. Right? He's waving the kid around in the air, like, "See, come and get him."
See, you
The
helped.
kid was just... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the kid was helping too, right?
You have a choice.
He was part of the process.
Yeah. So.
Do I remember correctly that the kid was just weeping and Guts interpreted that he wants revenge, or did the kid actually say he wants to go get the
Let's
killer?
take some liberties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it good? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. See you soon.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty.
Thanks,
Take
Dan.
care, Dan.
Take it
Bye,
easy.
Dan.
So, what are some of our predictions for Volume 15? Do we have any?
He's going to kill more of these bug things. He's going to kill the big mama bug thing.
Yeah, we'll find out what these bugs are all about, right?
The bug that the fairy that we saw towards the end, was that the demon? Not towards the end, somewhere before, towards the end of the Golden Age arc, I think. Was that a demon with the weird raccoon eyes, or Was it?
We did see
The
that.
demons all looked like.
Yeah, we did see that
bad.
particular fairy demon before, didn't we? She was
Yeah, we
talking
did.
to. I don't remember. She was talking to somebody. Was it Zod or was it the Skull? Was it? It was some other one. Yeah, we'd seen her
Yes,
once
her.
before.
Yeah.
But that makes it seem like she's just another apostle, right? Somehow. These bug things are just more demons. The story, I don't remember how it ends, but it has this very demon of the week feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of get that impression that this is the story moving on as he's going to like wander and get into adventures. Kind of like Kane and Kung Fu.
Well, you can't have the Godhead coming up every week, right? You got to keep them kind of hidden and secretive because when they do make an appearance, it kind of says something, right?
Yeah. I don't think that's what happens, though. I don't think it'd be as popular as it is 28 volumes. Because don't forget, we're a third of the way through the published volumes, right? There's like 41 or 42. In my numbering, right? So for my numbering, we just finished 14. I forget what you guys have, right? We just finished 14. And I think 41 or 42 is out. And then they're making more. I got to get them. They're in my shelf in my mother's house in a closet.
They're there. They're at least safekeeping, right? They're in the cave.
Yeah.
Look, there's 42. Well, 42 is going to be released in September.
Okay. So we're only at the third mark. So I can't imagine he's just killing apostle after apostle every 2 volumes. He gets real angry and then he pulls out. Well, it'd be really funny if he did. Like Voltron, right? The end of every 2 volumes, a sword comes out, a cannon, woo, kills, everything's fine. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
So
this one's called the Lost Children arc. So yeah, I don't know. I guess he'll find some children at the end of it. That's my
bugs
prediction.
were taking children, so I have a feeling that we're gonna find what happened to them, and it's not going to be good. That's my prediction.
Wait, was it the bugs or was it? It was the bugs were just attacking the town, I thought, and there was some town chief who was taking children.
I think that was in the. Was it the? I thought the bugs were taking people, right?
Wait, did I confuse the prototype with the actual story?
The bugs were taking children from the town.
Yeah, the bugs would come and take kids.
Prototype, the Vlad Tepes, the apostle, they don't call him an apostle, but he was also taking young women from the town as tribute. I guess children being taken by the bad guys is a feat.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
They're taking their innocence and things.
Yeah.
We're just eating them,
Well, there's a constant hunger, right? I mean, those demons are like, I'm hungry. Like, yeah. Then they must be eating constantly then if they're hungry out there.
But we don't know what they want. Like, Zod doesn't seem to be eating people.
No, but the low-life ones, like, he's like, I smelled you. I'm hungry. Remember when he was crawling?
But they're going after the sacrifice. That's because of the brand.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they're eating everything in their path. As much as they're going after him because of the brand makes him promising.
Yeah. Makes it, yeah.
He's like a cow then. He's been branded. I mean, so you do with the cows, right? You brand the cows, so he's been branded. It's like, oh, it's mealtime.
Brand them for sale so they can be slaughtered and eaten. That's it.
Yeah. He's a cow.
It's a very angry cow.
He's a cat. He's cattle.
That's what this is all about. Mira's a vegetarian, and this is Revenge of the Cows.
So Guts doesn't get a yoga studio. Instead, he goes to a slaughterhouse.
Stopping for McDonald's. That'll be the end of the series.
Oh, they're gonna put him on like a barbecue pit and roast him.
Well, they're already eating a hand and an eye.
That's how it ends.
You don't need to count that tough all at once. right?
Yeah, now they're just gonna roast them. Like, skip the volcano. We'll just go straight to the barbecue pit. Sorry.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think not knowing the motivations of the demons, it kind of makes them more mysterious, and it kind of makes you kind of adds another level of mystery. Makes them a little bit more mysterious than them being so forthcoming with what their plan is.
Yeah, I mean, if you do everything, then nobody would want to read it, right? So you need to keep it a little secretive.
Yeah.
Keeps your reader engaged.
Mm-hmm. So cool. Anybody else have anything else for this one, for 14?
Nope.
Cool. It was fun. It was nice seeing everybody again. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
This was fun.
It was nice seeing you.
So
We'll meet again next week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But before we run, Dolores, can you tell us where people can find you?
I am on Page Chewy, and I also have a YouTube channel. It's been sort of sleepy right now. But it's Dolores Reads Books, so I'm out there.
Awesome. And Joe, how's the book coming along?
I finished The Hybrid Helix 4 is with my line editor. My fantasy novel is with Sarah Chorn, who wrote Necessity of Rain, and she's been editing. She edits like a bunch of other people's stuff. I think she edits Ryan Cahill, Michael Fletcher. So she's editing Partial Function. So they're probably going to come out almost the same time, which is a terrible, terrible move, but it just worked out that way. And then I got an idea for a totally separate palate cleanser book that I just started writing. I'm 2 chapters in. That's going to be a complete rip. It's like a Dragon Rider, except the dragons ride the people.
Are these baby dragons or are these big people?
Ones, right? And they ride on their backs. They ride them into battle.
That's so cool.
Oh, dragon ridden. And they ride it.
I want to beta read that one.
I don't know if it's going to be good. Once I had the idea, it got stuck in my brain. And I was like, and I came up with a storyline. I'm like, I have to write this now. I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret it deeply. But once I had the idea, then it's going to basically be a Cradle ripoff with people that have little dragons ride them. And so I'm going to knock that out. Hopefully, if I write a more straightforward book, it's easier to write, and then I can get back to Hybrid. Hybrid Helix just is the books are very complicated because I have storylines running through, and I'm up to volume 5, right, the 5th book. So I have to keep track of a lot of different things and have everything. Pace is complicated. It's hard enough to pace a novel, but when you're trying to pace a novel as part of a long series, it's just like, it's hard. So I need something to rest my brain. So I should have 2 books coming out probably by September, which is kind of crazy.
Nice.
So these 2, Partial Function and the new Hybrid Felix, should be out in the next couple months. So I should have cover reveals next month, I think. And books should be coming out by September-ish, maybe end of September, maybe beginning. So it's very busy.
Nice.
So I'm
super excited for you, though.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. So I'm at jcmburn.com. I have a YouTube channel. I just put out a video today about pace. If anyone cares.
Oh, nice.
So what it means when books are fast or slow paced. And yeah, that's it. And I'm on Page Chewing occasionally, and I'm on Twitter a lot, and I'm even on Threads very casually.
Lots of people going there.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to get new followers or follow new people in there, so I'm kind of stuck. But I'm sure there's a way that's like really obvious, and I'm just too dumb to figure it out. And I don't like doing things on my phone, and there's no web app, so I can't do it on my computer. So I don't like social media on my phone. Like I don't know how to. I don't know. I'll figure it out. First world problems.
And Varsha?
I can be found on my YouTube channel, Reading by the Rainy Mountain. The About page has direct ways to reach me. I also spend an enormous amount of time on the Page Chewing forum, so find me there.
Nice. Yeah, well, it's great to talk Berserk again. It's been a little while. I had to kind of refresh my memory on it, but it's good to be back in the saddle. But thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see everyone very soon.
Thanks, Steve.